And I never wanted kids because I was messed up. I didn't want to do that to anybody else. I knew better. I didn't want kids. But now I got six. And none of them really know who I am. And none of them really understand what I've been. Hello, everyone. My name is William Allen. I was the first baby born in the brand new intensive care unit in 1968 of the Baton Rouge General Hospital. I was born with complications that led to my having my throat and windpipe grown together at birth. So every time my mother would feed me, it would drown me. And so I was born in the intensive care unit and stayed there for many months as they did surgeries to repair what was abnormal with my birth. So as a result of that, I was very sickly as a child and experienced a lot of things that quote unquote normal children didn't have to experience, such as because of the surgeries, my throat was smaller than most people. So I choked on things that most children wouldn't choke on. And so there were episodes as I was growing up that I had to go to the hospital to have things taken out of my throat because I was a child and things happen when you're a child. My childhood was not a normal childhood. My father was an abusive, extremely angry, violent alcoholic. He beat everyone in my home from the time I can remember. I vividly remember episodes of my father picking up my mother like a wrestler and body slamming her on the pavement outside of our house, beating my sister, beating my two brothers, and eventually, as I grew older, beating me. Very traumatic, very hurtful, very resentful feelings can be built up in these things. And it also traumatizes a child because now I don't trust my father, so I don't even know how to trust men, period. I usually have a hard time bonding with men because of what has happened. And this is something that even at 57 years old, I still have to be actively aware of and concerned about when reaching out to other people and dealing with other men because of the feelings and the occurrences that I've had to go through as a child. This all led to my being belligerent and angry and obstinate and difficult and all of the wonderful names that people want to give you. Growing up, I didn't want to hear nothing from nobody. I'm going to do what I want to do, and if you don't like it, you know where you can go. And so I wound up getting myself in trouble a lot, wound up in prison as a young man because of bad decisions and just being angry. Why does this happen to happen to me? What did I do to deserve all this? You know, so I wound up doing drugs as a teenager. I started out with weed and drinking and all those cool things that young people try to do to be accepted and feel like you're part of something, because I didn't know how to be a part of something, because I felt like I didn't even deserve a family. I didn't even know how to operate within a family. And so I got myself in a lot of trouble with the law. I backed up a truck to somebody's house and emptied their house to buy drugs to impress my girlfriend. Wound up in prison. Prison is not a nice place for young people. Don't go there. I love you. So I get out of prison after learning how to be a better criminal because prison doesn't reform anyone. It just teaches you how to be better bad. And wound up a drug addict again. And this time I became an IV drug user. I weighed 98 pounds. I was sucked up from the neck down. And I had little man syndrome, and I was insecure, and I was all of these different things that I was carrying with me through my traumatic life that I could not put off and I could not overcome. So you find yourself trying to compensate by getting more things and chasing this and and chasing that, trying to fill a hole that none of those things could ever fill. And it was a day on July the 3rd, 1997, that I will never forget. My drug partner came over to my house. We were going to get high and play video games and whatnot. And that day I decided, unbeknownst to me, that that would be the last time that I would see this person, because I had been in my apartment watching television. And on one TV, I'm playing video games, and on the other TV, there was a televangelist. And he said, God knows you're mad, and he doesn't care that you're mad. He just wants you to talk to him and tell him. Well, one thing I haven't told you yet is that when I was a young child, about 4 or 5 years old, I was molested repeatedly for a long period of time by the teenage son of the people who used to take me to church as a young child. So if anybody had any reason to be pissed off at God, it would be me. How could you do this to me, Lord? Why would you say you love me and you're allowing all this stuff to happen to me? Really? You love me? That's funny. That's good. That's rich. But this day, this man said, you say God's mad. He doesn't care. He just wants you to tell him. So here I am in my living room, my little one-bedroom apartment, and I'm telling God, if you're so effing powerful, if you love me so effing much, how in the world could you let all this happen to me? Why me? What did I do to deserve this? And if you're so effing powerful, I'll give you 7 days to change my life. What did I say that for? Within 7 days, I had gone to a tent revival and given my life to Christ. And I moved into a home of Spanish-speaking people that I didn't even know. And the beginning of my new life was amazing. All I did was say yes. Was I fixed? No. What was all the damage that I had been subjected to repaired and done away with? No. Because addiction and trauma and abuse left undealt with can bring on lifelong and long-term effects that can affect your interpersonal relationships for the rest of your life if you don't take steps to deal with your trauma. And so what I've had to do is rely on my faith in God, because you find that even in religious circles, people aren't who they say they are. They say they're your friend. They say they're your family. They say they love you, but what they say and what they do don't always mesh. And so I have learned to trust in God. It is paramount to me that people understand that I am still here today because I have a purpose. And that purpose is to go back and reach people like me who've been traumatized, abused, sexually abused, misused, mishandled, misunderstood, the lost sheep, the loner, the outcast, to let them know that it doesn't matter what you've been through. There's an answer. And the answer is God, and He will fix it all. If you can just learn to reach outside of yourself, come out of your shell, and be who God has called you to be. And so in this, all of this searching and all of this trying, I met a woman with 6 kids. And I never wanted kids because I was messed up. I didn't want to do that to anybody else. I knew better. I didn't want kids. But now I got 6. And none of them really know who I am. And none of them really understand what I've been through. And none of them seem to register with the fact that I'm just as damaged as you. I have no reason to judge you. I have no reason to dislike you. I have no reason to do anything negatively to you because we're the same. You grew up in the same environment I did. But I can't reach them because they won't hear what I have to say. Some of them are afraid of God. Some of them are afraid of change. Some of them aren't ready to change. They're not mature enough to make the choices that are necessary to pick themselves up by the bootstraps and get out of the blaming and get out of the accusing and get out of all of the negative things that hold you captive to the things of your past. July the 3rd, 1997 was a long time ago, but I'm still a work in progress, as is every other person. And if we would learn to see each other as God's handiwork still being processed, it would make the interactions and the possibility of family-like lifestyle a little more palatable for all of us, when we wouldn't judge one another based on the color of our skin or sexual trauma or life choices or whatever the case may be. That we would accept one another and love one another, even if it's just from the standpoint of, man, I can relate, I just can't talk about it yet. Because there are many people who don't have the courage to speak on the things that I'm speaking of today. I've done some despicable things to human beings and with human beings that I am not proud of and that I would never do again. But I also know that as a human being, I'm 2 seconds away from screwing up, just like the next person. If I don't watch myself, if I don't stay up on doing the things that I know have built me to the point that I am, I can easily fall back right into the same old William, who's supposed to be a changed William. Have I handled everything right with my family of children that really aren't mine, but I love them and I want to reach them? No, I'm not perfect. I never will be until Christ comes again. Have I handled their mother properly? No, but she hasn't handled me right either. We all have a part to play in this, and we all need to take equal responsibility for our particular points in our lives. We must take responsibility for our behaviors. We must start to own up to some of our mess. We have to look in the mirror and say, I'm screwed up too. And if I could do anything, I would go back to day one of meeting my children and saying, and I call them mine, because they are. I married their mother. If I could go back to day one and start all over, I would, but I can't. All I can do is be the best William today, having learned from the negative experiences that I've made for myself and them for me, and take that and go forward and be a stronger human being and a stronger person and a better example of what it means to be a man. Because it doesn't mean you're a man to carry a big gun and have a big mouth and always beating people up and acting like an idiot. That solves nothing. To be a better person means you better yourself, which betters the next man, which betters the next man. And you show by example how you live your life, how to be a better person. And so my life is complete. Now, I met a woman, their mother, her name is Natasha, and I love her with all my heart. Is she perfect? No. Has she got a sordid past? Absolutely. Guess what? So do I. I love her. I love her like Christ loves me. I don't care what she did before I met her. I don't care how many kids she had with how many different dads. I don't care about any of that. What I care about now is helping Natasha be the best Natasha she can be, just like she's helping me be the best me I could be. I can't tell you how much God has used my wife to make me a better person, make me a better man, has used her to take a lot of things out of my life that I used to do on a regular basis that I don't do anymore. My wife is the first person in my life that I actually am faithful to and want to be faithful to. I'm 57. I don't know what faithful meant. I had no idea until I met my wife. And some people would scratch their head and say, wow, why her? Because she's just like me. She's just like me, broken, damaged, discarded, thrown away. That's why I love her. Because God can take two broken people and put them together and make the most beautiful mosaic out of life. If you would humble yourself, if you would be accepting of yourself, it's over. There's nothing you can do to go backwards. All you can do is be better today, live in today. And that would be the message that I would want to tell anyone from my broken life. Any kind of sex that you can think of, I've done it. Any kind of drugs that you can think of, I've done it. Any kind of drink that you could drink, I've drunk it. I've tried everything. Nothing works until you surrender to the thought process of there has to be something outside of myself that can help me be the me that has always been intended to be. And that person is God. So I would encourage each and every one of you who would come in contact with this to understand that it doesn't matter where you've been, who you've been, how you've been, what you did, where you did, and who you did it with. It doesn't matter. Give God a chance. He can change your life. It's not going to feel good. It's not going to be good all the time. Sometimes it's going to be painful and long and hard and strenuous and confusing and make you crazy. But it's part of the process. It's part of the process. You have to be processed to come to the point of maturity to understand that all of that was to prepare you for the place that God wants to take you. See, all those things, those negative, horrible things that happened to me can now be used as a tool to reach others and give them hope and give them courage and give them support to get up off of their knees and stop bowing to the things of this world and stand up and be the man or the woman that God has truly called them to be. And that's my hope, that my children would see. 6 years ago, I was a hot mess. I'm not that guy anymore. My wife and I, we don't even raise our voices. We don't even talk crazy to each other. There's nothing that I want in my house that's going to bring discord or take away the peace in my home or my marriage. Not even her kids or my kids. None of them. I love you, but you're not going to ruin what God has put together. So peace can come in this thought. And I'm closing. Let go and let God. Be the best you can be. If you need me, I'm here. I have all of the advice that you could ever need because I've been where you are and I've been where you're going. Experience is a great teacher, but only if you learn the lessons from the experience. Because if you don't, you're just damned to continue the same experiences over and over and over until you break that cycle. Many people come against my life. Many people come against what I stand for. And many people misunderstand and try to misuse and abuse me to this day. And they quickly find out that it's not really cool to play with what God has put together. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to change for the worse. I'm not going to do what you do. I'm not going to be who you think I should be. I'm going to be who God called me to be. And this is my prayer for each and every one of you, that you would become all that God would want you to be, using all of your gifts and all of your talents and everything within you to serve God and make better for those around you as well as yourself. Listen, I'm not proud of anything that I've said today, other than the fact that I'm still here, I'm still fighting, and I'm never going to give up. I don't quit, I don't surrender, because I know at the end of all of this, lives are going to be changed. The world is going to be changed. People are going to be changed because I had the courage to tell my story. I don't care what you think of me. I don't care how you feel about me. I really don't. I love you, but your opinion is meaningless when it comes to the point of put yourself in my shoes. Walk a day in my boots. You're not perfect. You never will be. You're not the greatest thing since sliced bread. You never will be. You can only be better day by day, moment by moment, hour by hour. That's what it takes to be a success in life. You have to change your mind about who you think you are and become who you want to become. And I've done that through the Word of God and through a relationship with God. That's how I've done it, period. Am I the smartest guy in the world? No. Do I want to be? I'd like to know a whole bunch of stuff. But first and foremost, I'd like to know me, what makes me tick, and where I'm going, and how I'm going. And so I want everybody to understand, I'm not going to beat you over the head with the Bible. I'm not going to preach at you. I'm not going to try to drag you to church. No, that won't work. You have to want this for yourself. So my message to everyone is, my name is William Allen. I have a phone number and I'm on Facebook. If you want answers, if you want a friend, if you want somebody to just cry and scream and kick and throw stuff and beat stuff and whatever you need to do to get it out, you have somebody in your corner. You're not alone. I'm not going to judge you. I don't care about any of that foolishness. I want you to be the best you that you can be, because God is making me and my wife the best versions that we can be. And we're not perfect, and we never will be. But it's not because we're not trying. And we don't have your worst interest in mind. We want you to be better too. But we're also not going to be your doormats. We're not going to let you use us and abuse us, and you're not going to be disrespectful. Not to your mother, not to myself. It will not be tolerated. I love you very much. God bless you. Do you have any questions, sir?